my Mardi Gras. Hold on. I think I know the problem. Okay, I think I got it. Can you tell the gremlins are in the house today? So you know what today is? Happy Mardi Gras, everyone. Happy Mardi Gras. And I had to find my purple. The only purple thing I have is velvet. So that's all right. It's freezing out. So guess who we have? I already see your comments. You already know who's joining us today. You know him, you love him. We've got Educator Jerry Granata here. He's going to show you something super cool. And in the title, I said it went with the Aveneer, but all you need is my design center. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So yes, we are live today. Look at all those shamrocks. Great to see you all. And give Jerry a big Wolfpack and Brothers Sews welcome. Jerry, how are you?
Hello. How are we all doing today?
Oh my gosh, I love it. All I could find was this fabulous necklace. I have a beautiful scarf. That takes the cake. I love it.
Just saying. Well, it may be Mardi Gras Day, but it is Ireland in here because we're going to be talking about shamrocks and all sorts of stuff because that's coming up. And so I want to give you all just a couple little ideas, and we're going to work on a little project today that has to do with shamrocks and has to do with Ireland. So we're going to get you ready for St. Patrick's Day, which is coming up soon too.
This is awesome, but you know, you can still get away with that green hat for today, so you can wear it twice.
True. Double duty. I like to multitask. Absolutely.
Barbara Jones says, hi, she loves you. Hi, Barbara. How are you? We always see her in Texas. Everybody's saying hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Good morning from all over the country.
Everybody's saying, awesome. Can't wait. All right. So you got to give them a little preview of what you're working on because it's super cute. And in the title, I said it went with the Aveneer, but actually, if they have my design center, it would work for that too.
Totally. Yeah. Today's project, it's going to look more complicated than it actually is. And let me give you a little bit of a background on it. So the quilt that's right behind me was a quilt that I did years and years ago when I lived in Florida. And I was in a quilt guild and they had a challenge. They had a theme for the challenge, and then they had a challenge fabric. So the theme was stars, 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 and the challenge fabric was lame. And so, of course, if you know me, you know that stars are my number one favorite thing to do for quilting, and unusual fabrics are absolutely my go-to. So, of course, everybody at the guild turned and looked at me, and I went, just give me the award now because this is what it's going to be. So, and so what happened was the challenge quilt that you see behind me is what I eventually created, and it did win their best of show. So I was very happy about that. But of course, everyone was like, of course you're going to win because you do stars all the time and you work with unusual fabrics. So that was kind of the background. We had just gotten back from Ireland, a trip from Ireland. I wanted to kind of memorialize that trip, create some memories. And I had found some really cool fabrics, and it's a little hard to tell back there, but there's it's like a velour or a velvet that has a three-dimensional, like a puffy puffy paint on it. So I used that with some lame and some green and orange fabrics and some different colored lames and put this all together. I actually invented some of the star blocks that are in there. I'd not seen them before. So that was fun to put together. I'm kind of old school. I love to work with graph paper and rulers and pencils and all that good stuff. So that's what I did. I just got that all out and just started drawing and playing around and came up with some really cool stars. Came out with some blocks that I probably will never do again because I wanted to rip my hair out from some of them. I'm like, how do I put this together? But today what we're going to do, so that's kind of a little bit of a background of what we're going to do. So again, it's going to be all things Ireland today. And what we're going to do is we're going to put together a pillow. And and Angela said, we're going to be working in my design center. And I've created this whole center shamrock out of what's in my design center. We're also going to put together this flanged pillow, this flange kind of outer portion. I know it's going to be a little hard to see, but this is a metallic linen. So this is also a metallic fabric that is in the quilt behind me, as is the stripe. So what I always say when I'm working with things is don't ever overcomplicate yourself, right? So, the things that I do, a lot of people will say, oh, I'd never be able to do that. Well, don't say that because now you've just glass ceilinged yourself. And you're right, you'll never be able to do it. But if you look deeply into my samples, they're not overly complicated. I let the fabric do the work. So a lot of the fabric is doing a lot of that work here. So again, this is very simple sewing, folks. This is straight stitch. There's no fancy stitches here. It's all straight stitching. This is from my design center. So you're just going to create this, and I'm going to show you how to create it today. And then you're going to stitch it out and then just kind of cut it out and put it all together. So what makes this fancy is not the stitching, it's the fabric. The fabric does a lot of the work. So my whole thing is I want to put together, and as do you, I'm sure, you want to put together projects that it looks like you spent just all this vast amounts of time on it, but you didn't, and everyone just oohs and ahs. But really, again, if you just let the fabric do the work, that will cover so much of it. And you can, break out those upholstery fabrics, break out the lamaze, break out the spandex and all that stuff. That's all the stuff that I use that makes it really, really fancy. So let's kind of get started. Let's kind of head over to the machine.
All right. And everybody's saying they love the fabric. The fabric's great. And yes, that quilt behind you deserves a major win. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. While Jerry switches his camera, it'll just take a quick second. Drop your comments and questions in the chat. What have you been sewing this weekend? Just out of curiosity. All right. And he's just about back. I know we all love Jerry. He's so much fun and talented. All right. He's back. Let me bring him up here. There you go, Jerry.
I'm sorry. My camera setting has been a little squirrely today, so I do apologize if things sort of go haywire. The little Irish gremlins seem to be in my sewing room today, so we're gonna get them out, and we're gonna tell them that they can't come back. So I'm going to put this up because I know that Angela will. Let me turn my light on here. So she will record this, and so you can go back and you can look at. Let me change the color on this. There we go. So you can go back and you can look at this. And I have here all of the requirements that you're going to need. So let's start at the top. So you're going to need the 12.5-inch finished square. That smaller inner border has 4 sides. This is just like putting a quilt together, right? So we have 2 short sides and 2 long sides. Now on the short inner border, smaller inner border, you're going to have 2 strips that are 2 inches by 13 inches and 2 longer strips that are 2 inches by 16 inches. Then on the outer border, you're going to have 2 short sides, which are 4 by 16. And then you're going to do long sides, which are 4 inches by 24 inches. Now, if you kind of add this up, if you're good at math, I am not. If you're good at math, you can see that you can just do strips of fabric, width of fabric, WOF, right? So if you wanted to do the inner border fabrics just out of a width of fabric, and then you can 2 inches wide, and then you can cut those strips down to the sizes that you need. And the same with the outer border. If you wanted to cut them 4 inches by width of fabric, and then cut them down to the sizes that we have here, 16 by 24. You can do that too. You don't have to necessarily waste fabric. So then you're going to have the back of the pillow is just going to be a simple envelope back. So you're going to have fabric that's just going to overlap. And you're going to need 2 pieces that are 22.25 by 26.25. And then let me raise this up a little bit. So the notion is you're just going to need some cutaway stabilizer and a 16-inch pillow form. And that's it. That's all there is to it to this. And again, see how simple this is? The fabric does all the work here. So I love that. I love putting projects together that do that. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to create the center of our pillow. And Angela, I'm going to come back to me so that we can see that.
All right. I'll wait for you to pop back. Jean says, I didn't sew over the weekend. Oh, but you spent hours watching the airflow class. That means you hung out with me all weekend. So that's fantastic. I hope you enjoyed. There's a lot of great patterns in there too for free. Oh no, your Stellair's in the hospital. No design center. Well, at least it's going to get fixed. Your brother dealer will take care of that quickly, I hope. There we go, Jerry.
All right.
Back to you.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to create, right? This is our center block. This comes out to 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches. And we're going to work on the shamrock, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now, I'm not going to stitch it out today because that's almost a 20-minute stitch out. So I didn't want to take up all that time. So I'm just going to show you how to create it, and then you can create it yourself. Now, even though I have these dimensions, you can customize this to whatever size you want. It's a pretty large pillow. So if you have a nice large couch or you want to put this on a bed or something, you can certainly do that. But if you want to make it a little smaller accent pillow, you can certainly adjust these dimensions as you go. You can even do this as a log cabin kind of thing. So you could start with whatever size center you want and just sort of go around, log cabin-ish, and you can create those strips and borders whatever size you want. It's your project, it's your rules. So let's go back to the machine, and we're going to start working in my design center.
All right. As he's switching over, I see somebody saying, are you guys really live today? Yeah, we really are live today. So drop your comments and questions in the chat, and we'll try to answer those. All right, back to Jerry.
Boy, are we live. And when my camera shuts down, you'll see that we are indeed live. So, all right, so we're over. Now, let's work in that big, scary thing called My Design Center, which is right down here at the bottom. And this is the reason why I say big and scary, because a lot of people don't understand it. They don't play around with it that much. And, maybe possibly their dealers haven't quite shown it to them to the capacity that they need. So let me go ahead and tell you that this is my playground. I spend more time in here than any other place on the Aveneer because I just think it is a brilliant thing. And you can be as simple or as complicated as you want. I suggest if you're kind of starting out that you stay as simple as you can. And that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to do something that's not really hard or difficult. We're not going to trace around anything. So let's go ahead and go in there. So let's go into my design center. And here we are. That's it. That's our whole entire menu right here. So from here, we can create all sorts of different things. And what we're going to do today is we're going to create that shamrock from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is come on over here to where you see the circle and the square. That's called the stamps key. And we're going to touch that. And then we are going to go to, I know it sounds funny because it seems like it's an open shape, but it's not. It's a closed shape. And that's where our shamrock lives, right down here. So this is going to be number 28, and we're going to touch that. And I think they call it an open, and then touch OK. They call it open because, and there we are, our stem is open. That's why. So the stem does not connect to the shamrock, which is fine. So here we are. So now I do not want the shamrock to be that small. I want it to be a little bigger. So I want to increase the size. So we're going to touch size, and we're going to touch this. See if I can get my hand out of the way. We're going to open this proportionate till I'm about 10 inches. I want the design to be about 10 inches. And how do I know that where that is? If you look right above here, you'll see those numbers change. And that will tell you exactly where, that's exactly where the size is. I think I touched something I wasn't supposed to. So let me get out of here. That was me. Let's go back. And we'll cancel that. And then we're going to adjust the size and make it bigger. And we're going to go up to 10 inches. So the top number is going to be 10 inches, and the bottom number is going to be 10.05, I believe. So let's just kind of get up there. And just take your time. Get it to the size that you need. You can see it's just increasing proportionally. So I'm at 10 inches by 10.05, and that's because the stem sticks out just a little bit. So there we are. So hopefully you can see that. You can see that nice and clear. And now the fun begins. So I'm going to touch OK and close that menu. So here's my basic shape. I can have all sorts of fun with this now. And I think you're going to be amazed when you see what we're going to do. So we're going to do three things. We're going to fill the shamrock with some fill patterns. We're going to add a really cool outline around the shamrock itself. And then because the stem is separate, we're going to create a separate outline for that as well. So let's get started because I'm really excited about this. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, let's see, which one do I want to do? Let's go ahead and touch the fill pattern. And then I'm going to select that actual menu where all the fill patterns live. And I'll touch select. And let's go to, I want something sort of shamrocky, but not quite, something a little basic and traditional. So I'm going to choose 017, sort of a basket weave. And then OK. Let's change that since we're going to do a green fill. Let's change it to a green color. Then OK. And now I'm going to touch the little bucket because we need to fill that. And watch what happens when I touch the center. How cool is that? What was that? A couple touches of the screen, and I now have a fill pattern. But we can do better. So we're going to just keep creating here. So the next thing I want to do is let's kind of play with the outline a little bit. So now I'm going to go to the outline menu. And let's select something different here. Let's choose I did design 005. And there's a reason why I chose that. First off, I think it looks really neat, but I want to change it a little bit. Now, here's a tip that I have when you're working in Design Center. When you're working with outlines and things like that, I highly suggest, since it defaults to a black, well, what's on the screen is black. So I do not want to keep those colors the same. So I'm going to choose, let's say blue. I'm going to choose let's make it light blue. And the reason why is because what I'm going to do is touch this outline. Now you see how this is black? Well, if I kept it at black and I touched this, I wouldn't know that anything changed, right? So because I changed it to a blue color, watch what happens. Again, I'm going to touch the bucket because I want to fill it. And this is just a subtle change. You may not see it, but I'm just going to touch that outline. It has now turned blue. So now if the dog got out, or I need to go pick up the kids, or I want to go get a cup of coffee, life happens. So now I come back to my screen and I'm going, oh no, I forgot what I did. So now you can look at your screen, and because there's various colors, you know exactly where you're at in this whole thing. My camera doesn't want to play nicely today.
I was like, where did you go? That was like the weirdest
I'm here.
Design Center thing ever.
I'm here. Was my mic still working?
Yep, we got you. Back to you.
Okay. All right. Sorry. It'll do that every once in a while. I've taken it off standby, but for some reason it still keeps wanting to go to standby. So don't panic, folks. Don't panic. All right. So we've got the fill. We've got the outline. Let's play with the stem now. So I'm going to go back to that line menu, and let's choose, I chose the leaf pattern here. I'm using my thumb so I can keep my hand out of the way for you, and then touch OK. And let's choose like a red or an orange. Again, why? Because it defaults at a black on the screen. If I choose a black color and I touch it, I won't know anything changed. So my bucket is already selected. So all I have to do is touch the stem, and my color has now changed to an orangey red. So that way, again, if life happens and you need to come back, you can look at your screen and go, okay, good. I've got my fill pattern. I have changed my outline. I've done my stem. So now I'm good to go. I'm ready to go to the next selection. Now watch this. This is the exciting part. We're going to touch next. And now you're going to get a preview of everything that you have. Look at that. Isn't that the coolest thing? So everywhere you touched, you now have the ability to play with things, and you get a preview. So before you waste fabric and thread, you now can kind of get an idea of how this is all going to look. And right now, now you can see why I changed all those colors, because you can see the fill pattern's green, the outline is blue, the stem is red. So that way I know exactly what I've done. Now, if anything is not to your liking, at the very bottom here, you do have a return key. You can go back and you can kind of fix things or change things as you want to. So let's see. Right now, my fill pattern is selected. So this is exactly what we're going to be. All of these menu items here are because of, I'm going to change that eventually. All of these here are representative of your fill pattern. How do I know that? Because that's what's right up here at the top. So let's change some things. This is going to be my size. Let's make that 120. Now what this is going to do is increase the pattern on the inside. So it's just going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, I like that. That's good. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar, and I know a lot of owners that I trick with this too, because I trick around with them, because what I'm going to do is, this is a very traditional pattern, right? Well, I want to wonkify it. Yes, I am creating a new word. I'm going to make this a little more wonky, and I want to kind of change this to kind of a more contemporary pattern. That's what this is right here. This is called random shift. And now I can select different options. So I'm going to go to number 3, and that's touch OK, and watch what happens. Look at that. You see how that is now all kind of wonky? I have taken a traditional pattern and made it contemporary. So instead of all the fill patterns, you actually have more, because you can create this random shift. So you can take all these traditional patterns and make them very, very contemporary. And so now I want to, you also have a choice of thickness. Now I don't want a triple stitch over all this. I want a single stitch. So I'm going to choose the lighter, and then OK. All right, so we've got my fill pattern right where I want. I'm happy with that. Now, let's go to my outline. What I don't like is if you look at all the little dots in the outline, they're on the inside of the fill pattern. I want them on the outside. I don't want to see them inside the shamrock. I want to see them outside the shamrock. So how do we do that? So let's go to here, and we're going to select the outline. So let's just go ahead and touch that. And see, now it shows my outline. So now I have some choices. So now I can make that design bigger. I can choose a wider spacing in between the design, but I'm okay with that. I kind of like that tighter design. Here's what I'm after right here. This little icon right here. This is my flip icon. How do I know that? Because it tells me that. Right now it's on the inside. I want it to flip to the outside. I'm going to touch OK and watch what happens. Now my design has flipped to the outside. Isn't that cool? How easy was that? All right, so I'm happy with that. And we're getting to where I want it to be. The stem seems a little small for the design. I'm sort of losing the leaves there. I want to make that a little bigger. So I'm going to touch the stem, and it's now selected. And how do I know that? It shows right up here. So what I want to do is make that a little bigger. So let's kind of increase the size of this. Let's make this, let's make that like 1 inch-ish. Now watch this. This right here, this is going to change in size. See how it got bigger? Okay, we're getting there. It's a little too big. So let's go back and let's go down to, let's try 9. Let's see what happens there. So it's going to make that stem a little smaller. Better. But let's go down to 8. See what happens. There we go. It's made it just a little bit smaller. See, when it was larger, it sort of overpowered the whole shamrock. So now, because I can customize that, I now have the ability to choose whatever size that I want. And I'm happy with this. Now, here's a little tip. I'm going to kind of scroll down here just a little bit. What I would do now is touch set. However, if I were to do that, it's going to warn me that I'm now going to go over to the embroidery side, and basically I can't change anything. So I highly recommend, if you are working in my design center, right before you go over to the embroidery side to stitch this out, you put it in the memory pocket right here. So you would touch that and you would choose where you want to save it, and it'll come up with your machine, or if you want to save it to a USB drive, whatever you want. I highly suggest that you save it, because once you go out of here, you can't come back and play with it anymore. So I always, even if I know that this is a one and done, I'm probably never coming back to this, I'm going to save it anyway. That way, just down the line, you'll be like, you know what? I think I do want to change it. Oh no, I can't, because I didn't save it. So now, now you have the ability to do that. So go ahead and save it first. Then you're going to touch set. And again, it's going to convert to the embroidery pattern. So it's just kind of giving you a little warning. You still have the option to cancel it, go back and save it. But I'm okay with this. So it's exactly where I want it to be. And I already have this saved in my memory anyway. So here we are. Now we're on the embroidery side. I can still make changes to this. So I can, I can flip it. I can mirror image it. I can turn the stem to the other side if I want to. It's all up to you what you want to do. You can turn this into an applique. You can add some stitching around this if you want to. So if I wanted to make a quilt out of this, or I wanted to add some stitching around it, look at that. Look how easy that was. One touch, which really makes me angry, because as a free motion quilter, it took me years to make my stippling look that good. And now I can do it with one touch. So when they came out with this, I was like, really? So, but I love it. I think it's great. So if you wanted to, again, add some stippling, you can certainly do that if you want to. But I kind of don't want it. So we're just going to go back to where we're at. So we just touch cancel. I can make an outline for this. So I can add my own fill patterns if I want to. So the cool thing about this too is, you remember all those fill patterns? I'm going to scroll up a little bit. All those fill patterns that were available to us in my design center. Look at here. They're all around here. So we can choose whichever fill pattern that we want. So let's choose, this is going to take a minute to digitize because there's a lot to it. So there it is. You know what? Let's have some fun with this. Let's select the pattern that I selected for the fill, the basket weave. Let's basket weave around this just to see what that's going to look like. Maybe not. There we go. So now what's going to happen is, so you can go ahead and play around with, there it is. So you can go ahead and play around with this. So again, I can make this wonky. I can change the size. I can change my hoop to whatever hoop size that I want, and it will adjust automatically. Do you see why I say my design center is just so much fun to play around in? And folks, you're not going to break the machine. You're just touching these things. It really, you're not going to break it. So just go ahead and play with it. And if you get stuck and you get stuck anywhere, you can always come right down to the bottom and cancel and get right out of there. If you are completely not liking anything that you're doing, here's your magic button right here, your home button, the little house key. You can go right back to the main menu. Say, you know what? I don't like any of this and I'm done. I want to start from scratch. Get that home key and you'll go right back to the main menu. But now all I have to do, and I'll scroll down just a little bit, touch embroidery. Again, I would save that to the memory. If you made any changes here, you change the size or the mirror imaging, put it in your memory pocket. That way you can always come back and play with it a little bit more. But right now we're just going to go to embroidery and you're ready to stitch this out. So again, it's going to be 20-minute stitch out. So we're not, oops, sorry. So we're not going to do that. There we are. We're back.
I'm right there waiting.
Sorry. So now I'm ready to stitch this all out. Again, I can make various changes. And if you did make changes, I highly suggest you put that in your memory pocket. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to come on over and we're going to go, I'm going to touch my home key and it's going to say, I want to cancel the embroidery. Yes, I want to do that. And I want to go to sewing. My embroidery arm is now going to move over. And I'm all ready to start sewing. So what I'm going to do is move my camera over. I'm just going to leave it at the default here. It defaults at 1-03, which is a stitch length of 2.5. I'm happy with that. It suggests my J foot, which is what I'm going to use. And again, just simple straight stitching. So let me, because I'm down to one camera, sorry about that. I'm going to switch this on over. Let me zoom in just a little bit for you, so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Come up just a little bit. There we go. All right. And so now we're just going to start sewing. So I have used 3 colors. Actually, I've used 4 colors. So what I chose for the shamrock, these are all brother threads. This is green. And then I've chosen for the stem, this is like a dark forest green. And then there's a black. And now these are all colors that are representative in my fabrics. You can change this to whatever. If you want a hot pink shamrock, by all means, your project, your rules. You go ahead and do that. But these are just the ones that I chose. So I'm going to start with my forest green. I'm going to thread my machine here. Get this all ready for you. I can thread my machine in my sleeve. Touch that magic button that threads the needle all by itself, and I'm ready to go. So here is my finished product. Again, here is my inner shamrock. It's got all of the colors that I wanted. Remember, I flipped that design to the outside, so we have that. My stem is exactly the way I want it to look, and I'm very happy with how this turned out. Now, at this point, again, if you're a free motion quilter, you want a free motion quilt around that, by all means, you can do that. So what did I do? So how I did this is I hooped up the fabric with a layer of cutaway stabilizer. So that's all I used. You can use, again, if you're going to adjust the size, you can use the hoop size that's appropriate for that. If you want to even go down to a 4x4, you want to make this really, really tiny, you can certainly do that. And I thought about this going, well, why would you do that for like a 4x4? What if you were doing an Irish wedding, or you have an Irish themed wedding and you had a ring bearer? You could turn this into a small pillow, have this as your design, and have the ring right here, just kind of tacked down right there. And if it were smaller, it would be a little ring pillow. Wouldn't that be the cutest thing? So, all right. See, just giving you all sorts of, I'm a giver. I'm giving you all sorts of things here. So, all right. So we're going to start with this. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take, we're going to start with our inner border. So again, this is our 2 inches by 13 inches. And this is very simple sewing, folks. So here's my strip. I'm going to take this and we're going to put this right sides together. And the reason why, you're going to notice that my strips are just a little bit longer. That's so I can trim those. So that way I get really nice really nice clean edges here. So again, this is just very simple sewing. Come on down, and we're just going to start sewing. Very simple. You could pin if you want to. I just find that this is such a short travel time. I don't really feel the need to pin. And that way I don't sew over any pins. Yes, I'm a notorious sewer over pin. I know. I sew over pin. Sometimes I'll use a basting glue as well, depending on what it is that I am stitching. I will use a basting glue to right in the seam here, right in the seam allowance. I'll put a little bit of basting glue down there too. So that way, if I'm nervous and I'm going to sew over my seams or over my pins, I don't have to worry about that. Let me grab my little scissors here, and normally I would take this to my rotary cutting area and I would trim this. But I'm going to trim, I'm just going to kind of do this real quick so that we can get through here. You can certainly trim it manually like this if you want to. I'm going to come on over here, just trim those little ears off. And done. Now I'd press that, but for the sake of time, we're not going to do that. This would be a wonderful time to press this and use Angela's clapper that she has available. You're welcome, Angela. So
I love that, Jerry. I
have a clapper, and you can use that. Now we're going to do.
You need that.
See how I did that? See how I did that? Teacher's pet. Teacher's pet. All right. So we're going to do the same to the other side. Now we all know how to do this, right? This is simple sewing. Even if you are an absolute beginner, you can do this. Trust me, you can do this. This seam allowance can be whatever you. What's that?
Your machine is so quiet.
I know, isn't it? It's just amazing. I love, I just don't want to hear loud noises in my sewing room. I don't want to hear a loud machine. I just want it to be nice and quiet. I want it to sew beautifully, and this machine certainly does that. And I also want to bust the myth that people think Brother is just for embroidery. Absolutely not. I have had my Aveneer challenged to the max with layers of leather and denim, and it has performed beautifully every single time. So don't believe that Brother is just an embroidery machine. Their sewing machines are lovely, and they're absolutely insanely quiet. So that's what you want, right? I don't want to hear loud noise from my sewing machine. All right, so now we'll just do the other side, and we're just going to go on around. I don't know if we're going to do the whole thing, but maybe we can just do the front portion. Again, you could pin if you want to. Don't have to. Not a long run here. If you had a move it foot, if you were Brother move it foot, this would be a great time to break that out. And that way you can utilize that, and that will kind of keep all these layers together. You don't have to make this into a pillow. You could create this into a wall hanging if you want to. Or like a little mini quilt. You could take this and bind around it. You could do this with, you can sandwich this together. Just like you would a quilt sandwich, and you can turn this into a nice little wall hanging, maybe be a gift for someone. This would be a great gift for that, especially someone who's Irish. All right, so we're going to trim, and look how fast we're going here, right? We're just keeping all right sides together. Have a little thing. Now, I will say, if you want it, since I'm using a stripe, stripes can get a little funky. But what I would suggest is if you really wanted to kind of finish this off nicely, you could miter the corners so that all of those stripes come together really, really nice. But again, that's a you thing, right? If you were going to give this as a gift, nobody's going to notice that, right? So I would say just do like a nice clean edge like we're doing here. It's fine. It just goes together so fast. That's just another step that you would have to do. If you're used to doing them and you choose to do them and you like to do that, I do like the look of that when I'm using a stripe. By all means, take the time and do that. Again, your project, your rules. So see that it doesn't quite miter up here. That's okay. I'm all right with that. My new phrase for 2026 is sometimes good enough is good enough, right? Because what Jerry will do in the past is he will work on dog beds for the local animal shelter, and I will do some free motion quilting that I'm not happy with, and I'll start ripping it out. And I'm going, Jerry, the dogs aren't going to know. Stop.
The dog is definitely not going to know.
They're going to love it. They're going to love it. So just don't go crazy, right? All right. So there he is. How simple was it? What was that? 5-10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes, and we're done with the inner border. Now we're ready to work on the outer border. So this is going to be, again, you're going to start with the shorter strips, and then you're going to work with the longer strips. So again, I tried to get this down, the measurements down, so that there was very, very little waste. So when you're trimming, if you look at these pieces here, we're down to nothing, right? You're not going to do anything with those, probably. So if you do, I want to know what you would do with those. So answer in the comments. What would you use those little pieces for? Because I'm like you. I don't want to throw away fabric. I don't like it. It's expensive. If you would use those little pieces for maybe little tags, a tag for something, I don't know. If kind of answer with the comments what you would do with little pieces like that, or what you do with little pieces like that.
I'm dying to see the comments for that, because I'm like, that's too small for anything I could think of.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We have got some insanely creative people out there, right? So I'm sure someone is going to come up with something, and I'm going to write it down going, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. What a brilliant idea. So, when I'm on the road, and I meet all of you wonderful people in classes and events, I carry a notebook with me because I want to hear what you come up with. I learned just as much from you all as you may from me. So I think you all are just brilliant. So I just love it. So we're just going to go around again, just simple sewing here.
I don't know, Jerry, you've got, it's tied. A few people said collage quilt, and a few people said toss in the trash.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So it's about 50-50.
And paper piecing, stuff a dog bed, zipper tab, earrings. Oh my goodness.
Awesome. Awesome. See? You all just constantly amaze me. You really do. I'm not just saying that. I've seen what you create online. I see your posts. I'm a lurker. Some of you are like, oh, well, I just do this. No, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You keep doing that because it's lovely. So we're just going to keep on going. Simple sewing. Oh, hello. Sorry.
Oh, we lost you.
We're back. We're coming back. There we go.
All right, you're back.
Does it automatically default to you, Angela, when that happens?
Nope. I have my finger right on the mouse, ready to cover you.
I've got to look. Hey, there's a good question. If any of you are like audio-visual techs, and I've got my camera set to not go to standby, but it keeps going to standby. If you know how to turn that off, I would love to know. Because I have looked online, I've looked on YouTube, I went to the Sony website. They're like,
it is plugged in, right?
Yeah.
To the power?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know then. That's weird.
All right, 2 down, 2 to go.
Oh, look how pretty.
Yeah, see? Again, the fabric's doing the work, folks. The fabric's doing the work. I am doing absolutely simple sewing here. This is straight stitching. I'm not doing any fancy stuff here. Not even a zigzag. Not even decorative stitching. Just simple straight stitching. And look we're almost done. Any questions, Angela, while we're waiting?
There are, and I also want to point out, anybody that's watching on Facebook, you might have missed the first part of the show. It looked like Facebook took the show out and I put it back in. So if you missed the beginning, you'll want to go to Brother Sews or Brother Crafts YouTube channel to watch the whole show. So it was out of my wheel well on that. So I'm glad I could get it back in there, but you never know about gremlins. So there are a few questions in comments. Let me see what I got for you. Oh, this is a good idea. Would that fill that you were pointing out, would that look good in variegated thread? Oh,
yes, it would.
Yeah,
See?
it would.
See, I told you. See? You all are brilliant. I love all of you.
It definitely would.
Because guess what Jerry's going to do now? He's going to use a variegated thread.
Totally. When I read that, I was like, oh, that would look so good. Joyce is following along on her dream too and following all the steps. Nice job. Nice job.
Oh, awesome. Oh, I should slow down then. Because I'll just keep flying.
Oh, this is interesting. This is a good conversation because Janice, I actually found 4, maybe 5, 4 for sure, 4-leaf clovers last year, which That means
Oh,
I
gosh.
should have had a fabulous year. But she says originally her Irish friends have assured her that the shamrock has only 3 leaflets. Is there a way to take that 4th one that you made and make it 3?
Wow. That's
high.
that's a great idea. Yes, there is a feature. We do have an eraser that's available in my design center, so you could erase that 3rd leaf if you want to, and then you can use your pen. There's a little pen feature in there as well, and you can kind of recreate the leaves if you want to. If you just want to start from scratch, sure. You could draw on the screen if you wanted to, or you could just erase the extra leaf and add a larger stem or something around it. Sure. That's the great thing about my design center.
You can do anything you want in there. I love
Absolutely.
it. And she has the Aveneer too, so she can follow along.
Oh, awesome.
Julie.
Now check this out. Done.
Oh, you're all finished?
The top is done. Look at that. Now I give that a good press.
Wow.
But then
beautiful.
But again, look at how the fabric does the work, right? So like another thing you could do as well. Okay, so let's say you have this all stitched up like this, and you're like, you know what? My design center has all those fabulous fills. I think I want to add some fill patterns to these borders. You absolutely can do that. The reason why I like these fabrics is because they're pretty busy. I think if you added stitching on top of that, I think that would take away from this fabric. So I didn't do that. But absolutely, you most certainly can if you want to do some stippling. I would probably keep it in black. I think green would just kind of make it look a little busy. And the same with the stripe. It'd be hard to find a pattern that would go with the stripe. But you could certainly do some free motion quilting and just do stripes in there. If you have the time. I don't have the time to do that. But if you wanted to do that, you could certainly add some fill patterns here. Again, even if you were finished and you were like, oh man, I wish I could have added some fill patterns around the shamrock. You still can. You can hoop this, go to my design center, and there's a trace tool. So you could take your stylus on the screen and you could trace around the design here, just like this. And what that does is that creates a barrier. And so that you'll be drawing all of this online, that'll create a barrier. Then you're going to go into, remember, shapes. We went to find the shamrock. You're going to find a square, and you're going to take that square shape on the screen and match it up to your inside borders. And that creates the barrier here. Now, just like the shamrock, you can touch here inside this area, and poof, you'll have fill patterns inside there. So fret not if you have this all together, but you still wanted to add something in here, you still have the option to do that. So that's the beauty of these machines, of these Brother machines. Anything is, it's really just limited by your imagination. So now at this point, what we would do is flip this to whatever side you want, and we would add the flap backs to this as well. So how you would do that, I know we're kind of running short on time here, so I won't do it. But you would take your piece of fabric in the dimensions that I told you. My piece of paper disappeared. In the dimensions that I told you, and you would fold it in half so that you have a finished line here, and right sides together. You're going to scoot that up until all of these, now this would be better if it was pressed, but until all of these raw edges meet. So you're going to scoot this down, and you're going to meet all these raw edges. Now, again, you want to double check and make sure that that finished line is going right through the center. Now, it will be longer than the center. That's what you want, because when you add this side, it's going to overlap here. And then that's creating what's called an envelope back. This could not be a simpler pillow, right? So now what you do is you would start and you would go all the way around, and then you would take this, turn this inside out, and you would push out your corners, and you're done. If you wanted to, what I did on the original pillow is I added a flange. So how I did that is, here's my flap. I'm going to pull out just a little bit. Whoop, wrong way. Pull out just a little bit so that you can see this a little better. So here is my envelope back, and there's the envelope right there. So what I did is once I stitched this all the way around, before I stuffed it, I turned it over, and all I did is I stitched inside this border right here all the way around. You can pin that if you want to. I did not. I didn't feel the need to because it stayed together nicely, but I just went all around this inside border all around. And what that did is that created this flange. So now I've got, and it's nice too, because then I don't have to have as big of a pillow insert. This is a huge pillow. If you wanted that, absolutely. But I wanted a little bit smaller one. And this is a 16-inch pillow form inside there. Again, that's in the sheet of paper that I showed you at the beginning. And that's it. And then you just stuff the pillow and you are done. So you have this beautiful flange built. Now you could add like those little pom-poms to this. You can go wild. I want to see the things that you create with this. So, but other than that, there's your shamrock pillow. What do you think? I mean, this is, less than an hour, we're done. And even the stitch out for the shamrock itself is 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes. So, by the time you're done, in less than an hour, you have a pillow.
So cute. Jerry, that's a great project. All right, so he's coming back to us. There, maybe he'll be here. Coming back. There are a few more questions for you too. So as soon as he comes back, and I can see your comments. I know this is such a cute project. I know. Wow. Glenda, I can't believe you're watching from the middle of the ocean at 4 a.m, but that's what makes our show great, right?
Is she on a cruise?
She is.
Oh.
She's on a cruise, and she shares where she is every live show. So we're living vicariously through her and Pete.
Oh my gosh. I'm so envious. All right, hit me. What questions do you have?
All right, I got a few. And I don't know if we have enough time, but someone asked if you would show how to use that tracing tool. So let me go back here to the last questions and we'll see what we got. Maybe we'll have to add it to one of your next shows.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh yeah, can you make that shamrock into an applique? Or did
Absolutely.
You make it
Absolutely you can. There's a little button or icon. It looks like a shield. So that's also on the Dream 2, the Luminaire, and the Aveneer. There's a little shield that will create the cut file that you would need. Also, once you turn it into an applique, if you have a Brother Scan and Cut, you can take the cut file and bring it over to your Scan and Cut and have your Scan and Cut out the applique.
So easy. Oh, and don't forget the still air. You got a ton of still air people in here. You can do it there too.
Yep, them too. We don't want to leave them out. We love them.
Okay, everybody knows you so well. When I said your machine was so quiet, she said you already have enough noise in the room with the dog snoring.
Oh my gosh, I'm never going to live that down. I'm just never going to live that down. I can't have him in the room anymore because he's getting older now. He just turned 8, so he's really snoring up a storm. So.
Oh, that is hilarious.
If anyone knows where I can find a doggy CPAP, that would be great. I would really love that.
We'll have to work on that. Yes, my top is velvet. I needed something purple today, and that's the only purple top I had. Purple people eater. All right, Margie says, when did you stitch the clover? She missed that. So we didn't do it live. So just explain a little bit.
Yeah, so we created that in my design center, and it was done right at the beginning. I wanted to start with the center. So again, I just hooped up some fabric with some, I believe it was heavyweight cutaway, and then created it in my design center, and then stitched it out and then trimmed it to 12.5 by 12.5.
Perfect. Lynn says, can you show the trace tool? Will you do it on a different show? Yay, no, maybe so.
I'm back next month, I think, for a spring show. I will definitely do that then.
We need the trace tool because that's, you know what, that is such, there were so many comments. You have to go back and read a lot of them, Jerry. Everyone was like, I didn't even realize my design center did all of this. And you know, the other thing is, I'm in my design center all the time, but every time I watch a show like you or Kathy Gandy's doing or Kathy Stipe, when you're all using my design center, you'll use a feature I haven't used in so long, I totally forget it was even there. So these are great shows to say, oh my goodness, someone said they forgot that you can have the line facing on the inside and reverse it. That's a great one.
Right. So those of you who are quilters, if you want to make a feathered wreath, and you don't want to do that through free motion quilting, you can create 2 circles and you could have, there is a feather outline. So you could have your feather go on the inside and then you have your feather go on the outside and poof, you have a feathered wreath that you created in just a couple minutes.
Absolutely love it. Great idea. Everyone say another classy project. This has been fantastic. And you have plenty of time to do this before, what do we have? Like a month almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even better.
I think so. Yeah. So even though we did one project, I wanted to try to get a couple of them in there, but I thought this was such a great idea because we had it in the machine built in automatically, and I knew it would take some time. But really, this was just to kind of get you started, get in your head with a little bit of shamrocky stuff and green and gold and whatever colors you want to. And also, if you've been to Ireland, which I have, they're not. The whole country isn't green, right? They like colors too. So again, if you wanted to make a red shamrock or a blue shamrock, absolutely, you can certainly do that as well, and that would work as well. Now, in my house, we are not for Christmas. We are not red and green. We are teal and orange. So. Ooh. Of course, trying to find Christmas decorations in teal and orange is always fun every year. But, it's just up to your aesthetic and what you like. I live in Palm Springs, so that's a very mid-century vibe to it. So the teal and orange work really well. Of course, the first time I put a Christmas tree up with teal and orange Christmas bulbs, everyone went, "Oh, you're Florida fans. You're Florida Gator fans." And I'm like, well, no. I guess I didn't quite think this through. No, but...
That's funny because I still have my Christmas wreath up. I leave it up till like March because it's still so dark. And mine is teal, purple, actually, almost the colors of this. Teal, purple, and silver, not gold, but you get the idea. Yeah. Our trees would match.
Hey, if you want your Mardi Gras colors to be green, purple, and silver, then you do that.
I'll do that. Everyone's saying, can't wait. She can't wait to get her Stellaire back.
Oh, nice.
Glenda says, wish she has her Luminaire on the cruise with her. I don't know how that would work, Glenda, but I like the way you're thinking.
That's quite a carry-on you have.
Awesome show. All right, everyone. Jerry, this has been a great show. I cannot wait till next month. Don't forget that you need to put on that tracing feature on the next show.
I will do that. I will do that. I promise I will do that.
Yes, and I always put the schedule on angelawolf.com. I will drop tomorrow. I will drop in the directions he had for this so you guys can go and check it out in case you missed it. If you're on Facebook, I apologize, out of my hands, but Facebook dropped the show at the beginning. I brought it back up. So if you want to see the beginning, go to Brother YouTube channel and subscribe, and then you'll never miss a show. All right, Jerry, until next time, I'll see you next month.
Yes, absolutely. I think the 17th, right? I think it's the 17th. Yeah.
Oh, even better. So, hey, everyone, why don't you work on this project and drop us photos prior to that so I can share them with Jerry?
Yep, I want to see it. I want to see what you did.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Happy sewing. I will see you at Fashion Sewing Club. I'll see you this afternoon at 2. And Brother fans, I'll see you on Thursday with Laura. She's making, Jerry, this is so cute. Last time she made this kind of a gator mask out of fleece, and now she's making a coordinating headband for if you're outside shoveling snow, that whole thing. You don't need to worry about that, but it has.
What is snow? What is snow? I've heard of this. What is that?
I'll send you a box.
A box of water by the time it gets to me.
A box of water. All right. Jerry, see you next month. Everyone, happy sewing.